Hey everybody, and thanks for joining. I hope you had a good start of the year and also had a good rest of after the previous year. Today we host our first online meetup for 2025, and with this we're starting our series of technical presentations at ETHCluj. And today we have Rob Stupay, who works in the Remix IDE team. He will be talking about various remix features that maybe you're not aware of and maybe are not obvious, and how they can help you with your work around writing smart contracts, either it's prototyping or ready for mainnet deployment or whatever you're using Remix for. Yeah, so I was telling before hitting record that I saw Rob giving a talk on Remix at DevCon a couple of months ago, and I found out about various interesting, useful tips and tricks that I was not aware of. Oh, someone's speaking. Okay, I muted him. Yeah, so I'm happy we have Rob with us today. So, Rob, if you are ready, you can share your screen and let's kick off.
Okay. Let's see here. We go. Let's see. Oops. So I want this talk to I'm going to go through a lot of these slides, which are basically screenshots of Remix, but and then I'm going to switch also to live demos of stuff if you want, maybe in the middle or, but if you have questions, please interrupt. And what else? I guess that's it. Here. So just so you know what I'm talking about when I say the icon panel, the side panel, the home tab, console terminal, and also plugin manager. I mean, are you I assume like everyone knows about the plugin manager to find new plugins. And I'll go through some of the plugins that I like that people may not know about. But this is a feature that is really important. It came in very recently. It's to make the side panel over here bounce to the right side. So if you click that little icon up here, do you see my mouse, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So when you click that thing, then, oops, I gotta make this smaller. You see, like in this case, Learneth, the tutorial plugin bounces to the right side of the screen. So it means like you can follow directions here and then, do most of your work over here. Whoops. Oh, whoops. And then we have a language chooser. And this is what I was talking about a little bit before, but we have a language platform for translators called Crowdin. And so we could get the UI of Remix, but as well documentation and tutorials in Romanian. And if I don't know if that's useful for you all, but it might be. So
It would be
if you'd like.
interesting. It would be interesting. Usually, people who are working as programmers, developers well, from Romania usually know pretty well English, or um, at least a
Do you think
decent
it'd be
level.
more interesting the documentation than the UI?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we could anyway, that's easy to set up. We can talk about that later for follow-up. So the AI in Remix, I'm just gonna go through that a bit. There's code explanations, code assistance, and code completion. And if you think about these kind of paradigms, I'll go through them quickly. So there's a robot icon for explaining a contract. There's compiler errors. and then there's right-clicking on some code for explanations. That's the robot icon. And I don't know if you've all tried that, but it gives the explanation in the pop-up panel. Pop-up panel, you can also just, of the AI assistant, you can just ask questions. This is using Code Llama, um, and it's a open source LLM that we've enhanced a bit. And then there's this explanation for compiler errors. And then the compiler errors get answered in the AI assistant. And then you can click on when you right click on in the editor, you get this pop-up panel, and then you can get the explain this function or explain this code. And similarly, you can just ask the AI assistant some questions, what that's about. For coding assistant, you need to turn on the AI assistant, which is, I mean, the Remix AI, which is over here. So these other ones, like getting a contract explained, you don't need to have that switch on. But for getting assistance while you type or assistance in the editor, you need to turn that on. And if you do a triple slash, then you can ask it some, you can ask it to write a function. Sometimes it'll actually return your query it'll try to rewrite your query, which is a new element. So then you just hit return again for that, and then it will give you the code. But the first time I saw it, I thought it was weird that it was not doing what I wanted it to, but it was trying to make it clearer query or a better prompt. And so then it returns it in gray, and then if you accept it, then it turns normal color. And then, but if you don't accept it and you hit return again, it will give you a different answer. So code completion, you have to have that switch on, but you can turn it off so it doesn't bug you, because sometimes it can. That's that switch again. And then, it just suggests one line at a time while you type. So all the time while you're typing it, every space, it's going to suggest something, a space. Yeah. So not in the middle of the word, it won't suggest, but between the words, it will suggest. I don't know if you've tried any of these ones. Just these were some that I just thought I wanted to make sure people know about. Like Tenderly's been around forever, but I don't know if many people know that there's a Remix plugin for them. And Build Bear is it's like an enhanced virtual machine. So you can use the virtual machine on Build Bear and they'll find a wallet. You can use, browser wallet to interact with that chain, but it's totally private. So it's like your own test chain. And Cookbook, it's this repository of smart contracts, and there's some AI stuff in there. And we have Stylus, but also there's another one called Code by Well Done Studio, so that it allows you to program Rust and also deploy to near protocol. So here's some plugins about saving work. I assume everyone knows about Remix D, but saving work in Remix is important because it's just saving it in the browser storage. So if the storage gets corrupted, then you can lose your work. So either push to a remote repo with the Git plugin, or use Remix D, which shares a folder on your hard drive with Remix, or Remix Desktop, which is not a plugin, which is new. I'll go into those a little bit. Has anyone not used Remix D? Wait a minute, I can't see. Oh, should I? Yeah. Anyway, you have to have this. You have to have the plugin, this npm package running for. Whoops, I went ahead of myself. Yeah. remixd, like you get this npm package running on your hard drive called remixd, and then you go to the folder, and then you click connect a files local file system, and it will share that folder on your hard drive with Remix. And then you could just do normal Git. Um, and this is like going through the Git plugin. So, you got to log in to Get, and then it does basically all the basic operations of Git. Just no like fancy operations like cherry picking, but just normal message stuff, pushes and pulls. Uh, and you can also do a diff by clicking on one of the files, and then it will show the diff in the editor. Uh, and all the branch management is here, but it's also in the file explorer at the very bottom. If you click on that, you'll get this little pop up, and it will tell you what branch you're on. And also over here, it says that this is, it's a Git initialized workspace. And if you clone something, it's going to come in obviously as a Git initialized workspace. So you can clone something and from here, or you can, at the status bar at the bottom, you can initialize something as a Git repo, a workspace as a Git repo, and then push from there. But generally, like, it's easier to create the repo on GitHub and then pull it in here, just because of all the permissions to push and pull. It's easier, at least for me. I prefer to create the repo on GitHub and then pull it in here, and then be able to push back to GitHub. So Remix Desktop's in beta now. I mean, we've been saying it's going to be out any day. Basically, there's just a few little additions, but it's totally stable. But the cool thing is you can work offline, and you have access to the native terminal of your operating system. And you can just work in VS Code if you want and do the Web3 stuff in Remix. So, basically, like, it's still following the kind of VS Code model that Remix is. We're just checking the time here. Okay. Yeah, like each workspace is going to be its own instance of Remix Desktop. So you could have like, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, access to the terminal. So that's like the output is what you usually see in Remix, and the terminal is like what you see here. And you can have multiple terminals just like in VS Code. And then you can work offline. Well, here it's online because it's showing its status. And then you download the compilers you want so you can work offline. Then if you're working offline, you can see that's in red now. And it's good when the internet's not so stable. And so your work is stably stored, better than browser storage. So here's like an image of like lots of folders open of Remix Desktop. And so you choose a folder to open by going to the file, I believe, and then it'll go to open the folder. And so, like, you're coding in VS Code, but the coding, it's the same file if you open it in Remix. So any change here happens here or the other way around. And there's no browser wallet, but we're coming up with a new way. I think that's what the latest delay is, like coming up with new ways to interact with a wallet, or a wallet that's on your operating system. And this is also the same with Remix using Remixd. If you compile a project, if you use, you can compile a project in the Solidity compiler of Remix that's usable in Hardhat. And similarly, yeah, that's showing it to enable it in the Solidity compiler. But it's just making this config file for Hardhat. But if you compile a project in Hardhat or Foundry, and you can then grab it in Remix to deploy it or to do debugging or whatever you want, and then deploy it. So you can kind of mix and match your tools. Uh, and so um, the cool thing about Remix Desktop, obviously, is it's more horsepower than the browser. So you should be able to start using Remix to generate larger proofs than you can with the Circom plugin, which I'll go over in a few minutes. And then there's yeah, you should be able to use it for compiling Viper locally. Our current Viper compiler does a remote compilation. Unless you're using RemixD, then you could use a Docker container and compile the Viper files locally. That's the link for the beta of Remix Desktop. And also like some essential new plugins, the script configuration and contract verification. So we used to have a number of plugins, one for Sourceify and one for verification and one for EtherScan. Now we combine them all into one verification plugin. And soon we're going to make it so that it's going to be even easier to verify. It's going to be like probably when you're deploying, as soon as you deploy, you're going to be able to ask if you want it verified. But just so you know as well, if you deploy on, I'm going to bounce over here. Is it going to work? If you deploy, where am I? So I just taken a contract. I'm going to use a shortcut, Control S to compile. And then, did I get an error? Oh. Oh, here, well, let's ask. Am I going to be able to fix this on the fly? Remove one of these extra closing braces. Where is it? Oh,
It's one, yeah,
that
that
one.
one.
Okay. Just got warnings, so I'll ignore those. So I guess what I'm saying is if you publish on IPFS, then as you deploy, but you need to have a IPFS node to deploy to do this with. And if you do that, then Sourceify is going to come along and verify your contracts anyway. But basically, going back to the presentation, the verification plugin, like then you're doing this on demand. So then once you activate that in the plugin manager, you can choose these 4 services or do all of them or one of them. It's all the same. You have to first for EtherScan, you have to set up the API key. And EtherScan, the API key for EtherScan, like Ethereum, their terminology is so confusing. But like if you wanted to use another chain like Polygon, then you have to put in the API key for EtherScan Polygon, which is different from the EtherScan Ethereum. But like Sourceify and BlockScout don't need API keys put in. So then you choose the chain and you choose the contract, and then you can see the receipts, and then you can get links to the uh, Explorer. And now also like if you're want to use Ether 6 inside the scripts, you go to the script configuration plugin and you choose Ether 6. If you want to use the default one, use the default one. And for ZK Sync, their development, you use the ZK Sync Ether 6. And then I don't know if you all know about Learneth, which is our tutorial plugin. And these plugins are going to get more and more plugins and more advanced ones too. But that's the icon there, and then I bounced it over here to the right panel. But there's like in the solidity ones, if you want to improve your solidity, there's a solidity course. There's questions inside each of the inside many of the tutorials, and you code, and there's some solidity unit tests. So if you don't get the answer right, you can it'll check your answer, and it will it'll also give you the right answer if you're looking for the right answer, and then you can go on to the next step. So it's kind of step-by-step learning. The Remix Guide is this new plugin we have for videos. So you can watch the videos inside Remix. These are going to be updated a bit more, but I like the ones that Smart Contract Programmer does about his low-level ones are really great. And then you can like play around with Remix for like watch the videos, but play around inside a Remix with his examples of transient storage, and other kinds of storage. And soon this is going to get updated with links, so you could load his example files while watching his videos, so you don't have to hunt around for his examples. And that's watching the video of his stuff. And then we have a Circom plugin now. We also have Circom templates if you want to just check those out. To get to the templates, explore here. I'm going to go back over here. I assume you all know about this, but like you go here to create a new template, and then here's the choice of templates. But these are also, there are also scripts in here, which is, they're a little bit buried, but like the script, these are Sindri scripts. There's the other scripts here. You can add them to your current workspace, or you can create a new workspace with them in. But it's important to know about all the options of the hamburger menu here. And this is also where you connect to RemixD, also where you'd clone a repo. Wonk. And yeah, so uh, what does it? Oh yeah, so the scripts anyway inside the ZKP templates. But the compiler is interesting because it's like a graphic, it's a remix, so it's a graphic interface for doing stuff. So it's a bit more step by step than, and it kind of walks you through the steps of what's involved in programming a circuit, or checking out some circuits, or doing all the different parts. So you have to your ceremonies and of getting the power of tau, and then you can create a verifier key, have a verifier contract, etc. And then running the setup, it's all kind of like you're doing one step and then the other, then you generate the proof or compute the witness. And then it's interesting to start learning Circom and playing with some the circuits here. We're going to be having a Noir compiler coming in, I think, in this quarter. So in the next few months, the Noir one should be done. And then there are also scripts that get generated here. So then, you could either run this plugin via the GUI, or you could use it, run the scripts. And just again, so going back to Remix, like if you go here and then you get a script up here, you can also use this button to run the script. And of course, then you generate the proof. But anyway, that's the then there's some more advanced stuff here too. And then for larger circuits, you should use the Sindri scripts, because that's a remote circuit generation. which might be if your circuits are too large to run in a browser, you could do it there. Soon, this will be working in Remix Desktop, so you'll have the power of your desktop to run to generate the circuits, the proofs. Okay, that's the scripts. So here again, it's like talking about templates, creating templates. I went through this, so I went through this already. I'm gonna keep going. Here's some stuff in the compiler. You know that already. There's different ways to compile, which I was talking about, Control S, play button, and pop-up menu. On the File Explorer, also, you should know about the right-click pop-up menu. I assume everyone does, but that's maybe a bad assumption. Um, and in the advanced configuration is where like the EVM version is, you can change this to, earlier versions of the EVM. Also, this is where like if you have something running in Yule, you could change that here in the language. So it's not for Viper. Viper is a separate plugin. Compile and run is a feature for connecting scripts with a file, a contract. So to see this, it's best to check out the default contracts in the first one and the second one. There's some comments. The first one is 1_storage, and the second one is 2_owner. I'll show you in a sec, but these are using this netspec tag to connect the script. So you could like compile. Also, I assume you all know that we have console log, but that's another thing to check in the default script, the default contracts. I'll show in a second. But basically, like with this, you can compile and deploy in one click. Here, I'll just show you now. So in this case, and I'm gonna, yeah, it's good enough. So here's the netspec that's connecting this contract with this script. So as soon as you hit compile and deploy, compile and run, it's going to compile this contract and it's going to deploy it with this script. But you could do any number of things. You could set the state of the contract with the script. And then also, just to go back here, here's the import statement for using console log. So if you have that in any contract, then you could use console log. And that's what I'm going to show there. Compile and deploy. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah. And I assume you know that we can run Mocha tests in Remix. It's the same thing. It's just running a JavaScript type script file. And then you can compile and run the test too by connecting them the same way. Yeah, that's running the test. And also in the compiler, there are these tools. You can publish on Swarm and on IPFS. The Solidity scan is checking that your contracts, it's running a security check of your contracts. Also in the Remix static analyzers, the Solidity static analyzers plugin, there's you can run Slither, you can run a linter as well. To running Slither inside a Remix, you have to be connected to Remix D to a folder on your hard drive to make that run. But I think we've been on this. But basically, like for beginners, like Remix is cool because it's you click and you see something happen. So it's like GUI based. But as you get more advanced, you can use Remix with scripts. So you can, you don't have to do everything one click at a time. Here, just I'm going through some stuff on the deploy and run. If you click that, you get the chain list, so you can configure some chain configuration so that it runs in MetaMask so that you can connect in Remix. If you don't see what you expect in this list here of the oh look, it's a remix in my example remix in Spanish here. But if you can set this list so by checking here, you can get like L2 optimism to appear here. I mean, optimism, you can also just set that up using injected provider MetaMask, but or whatever your wallet is. And in this case, if you're connected to Optimism, L2 Optimism, or Arbitrum, you can get this icon, which takes you to a bridge if you need. I just wanted to point out that Ephemery testnet is a cool testnet. They refresh it every month. So that means it's easy to get test ether on Ephemery. And we've implemented pinning. So this means this is part of like our VM updates. So the VM state is saved in Remix. So also, which if you click this, even if you're on a public network, you go back to the same network after you've pinned it with in the same workspace, then your contract will be accessible. It's basically saving the metadata and of your contract in the state inside the file explorer. And so when you come back there, you can access the same contract. You don't have to remember all your addresses, which is nice. Even just on the Remix VM, if you refresh it now, your state will be saved. And now actually. I'm not sure I put this in here yet, but you can fork the Remix VM, and that means yeah, so you can have a different fork of the Remix VM as well. And then if you push that your workspace to external repo, then someone else can pull that repo, and you can share your state with one of your collaborators. Because when they load this, the state of the VM will be the same for you both. And we've implemented EIP 721 message signing, but you have to sign a message in Remix, it's deploy and run. I don't know if anyone knows about this one. It's kind of hidden.
Yeah,
and then you sign a message.
As many other features, it's hidden, yeah.
So that's what I was just talking about, forking. So forking, if you do what you wanted to fork any custom state, you come here to fork, and then you get this message, this modal that says like, what's the chain and what block number, and so then you can basically fork anything. And that's forking the state of the current VM. Also you can use scientific notation in inputs for function inputs, which it makes it a lot easier for putting in the right number of zeros. And then there's this nice and also very hidden, if you're using a upgradable contract that uses the UUPS pattern, in deploy and run, you'll get this checkboxes when you deploy. So it means it's going to do two deployments, one for the implementation and one for the proxy contract. So if you're doing it on the VM, it's one after the other. If you're on a public network, you have to wait for the first transaction to go through, and then it's going to immediately follow on with the ERC 1967 contract. And also similarly, the verification plugin that we did has some, it's slightly different. It's a process for updating for using a upgradable contract in the same using the same pattern, but there's some interface there for that. So this is just saying that. So then you get two deployed contracts, the implementation and the proxy. Which one do you use to interact with? Because they're going to be both the same. And the answer is this one, because this is the front-facing one. There's quick fixes in the remix editor.
There's a question. Sorry for interrupting,
Yeah.
Rob. So Katalin is asking, I tried to use Diamond Standard with Remix like a year ago, and it didn't work to test on Remix. Is this still a problem?
Yeah, this isn't. We were talking about getting a UI for this, and I'll lobby on your behalf to get that in. Um,
Problem solved.
Do you think, in your opinion, is it like more, is that standard more? I mean, I think they should have both. We should have both going on anyway, but is it more popular than the UUPS standard?
In our circles, meaning people, some people from the call, yeah, probably people who watched the tutorials by, I forgot his name.
Yeah, me too.
uh, I forgot his name. Yeah, some of us on the call, yes, probably
Okay.
used the diamond
Does
pattern.
anyone ever use the transparent pattern?
Um, not familiar with that one.
Uh, it seemed to be the like at least on the Open Zeppelin library in their wizard, they had the option of the UUPS pattern or the transparent pattern. Anyway, we should also get a diamond uh, in our templates as well. Okay. Anyway, noted. I'll get back to you about that. So because we have quick fixes in the editor. Sometimes it's a little sometimes you have to click the line number to get the quick fix to pop up. But once you get that blue button, the blue dot there, and you click that, then you'll get this context menu that comes up. So these are the list of what the quick fixes will do if it notices you don't have a pragma or license or something. But so does it. I mean, the AI covers a lot of that as well. And you can run free functions in Remix. It's a function outside a contract. And then you just right click on it and then you can run it. And that's what I got. Also, if you want to download this presentation, it should be accessible to everyone. Just so, I mean, it's a lot of slides there. Then
Yeah, cool. So lots of info, lots of useful info. So guys, if you have any questions, just unmute and ask. Shoot. If not, I can start with
also, I
Alice.
have questions for you all too.
Come again?
I also have questions about how you're using Remix and like even like in your development, like how do you use it like in with other tools?
Do you mean with other tools, meaning frameworks
Like
like
yeah, like Hard Hat or Foundry, or are you using it just for a specific, like are you just using it for the debugger?
Yeah, so guys, anyone can maybe can talk a bit about his experience, his or her experience with
Yeah,
Remix.
I use it especially for deploying smart contracts and sometimes too fast interact with on-chain smart contracts. But when things are maybe more sophisticated, I have to use Foundry to maybe write a test. But if you want to test something very fast, like a NFT or a token or stuff like that, it was really good to like skip the process of writing 100 tests. So for this kind of situation, it's perfect.
And did you discover the pinning feature yet, or is this new for you? Because pinning seems like it'd be perfect for testing something that you already deployed.
No, think not.
Ah. Did you catch that? Should I show you that part? Did
Yeah,
you?
yeah, if it's possible.
Yeah. Uh, wait, maybe. Did I here? Um, so here, like I pinned it. So if I refresh remix, it
Oh
will
yes,
come
I
back.
got
But
it.
if
Yeah, I used it. I thought it's something else.
no, no. It's like a
And
small feature, but like it. Oh, yeah, there's another feature. I don't know if this is so interesting for this group, but if I go to um if I deploy like to uh what you call it? To Sepolia. So I'm deploying to a public testnet. And I open this up. There's this is a new feature which is um in development. I mean, it works totally now. It just I think the UI we're going to improve, but it's for making a quick front end. Um, and so here we have like the functions that are in the contract. You can show them or you can get rid of them. Um, you can um, you can put a title,
okay, that is amazing.
and
I
then
I hate
you
doing front end, so it's
yeah. So it just
it's
so that
lovely.
and then you can make up your own thing. And actually, the thing is at Surge, it they it's if you put your email, if you put an email and password here, it's not, it makes an account. There's no Sybil protection there. So just it's easy to do. And then if it's a verified contract, well, anyway, so you can deploy it and actually maybe this was a stupid example because and also of course anyway, it should give you the URL at a minute. It'll either fail or it won't. Um, it looks like it's probably going to time out. Anyway, it should work. Of course, it's not working right now. If it's a verified contract, there'll be a link back to the source code. So it's kind of useful for hackathon judging so that you can show somebody, uh, what's going on there. But the obvious additions are going to be like to give you access to the code so that you can play around with the front end code and customize it, or even kind of make it so that it starts to merge more with scaffold ETH. And so that you can progressively code this here. Okay. So then that gets made and then oops. So here's what you get. So
Yep.
it's kind of, you got a client and you want to show them a front end super quickly. You can generate it with that.
This is great. I will not generate just for client. I will use it as this.
Good.
I
Yeah.
forgot the name of the tool. I used it, but outside of Remix. I forgot what's the name, but something similar, yeah. So interface
Anyway,
for
it just
content
to
protocols.
get there, it has to be a public network, and then this icon will appear.
Cool. Yeah.
And the UI is going to be improved so that it's going to be a bit more step by step. Like first you put in the title, the name of the app, and then you get to the functions, and then you get to the administrative part. Anyway, so
I have one more question, if possible.
yeah.
So there is a functionality, I don't know exactly where it is right now, but I never understood what it does. It's about something related to IPFS. It published the code to IPFS or something like that.
Yeah. That's over here. It's or is it for here? It could be here. Well, there's publish on IPFS, and then all here, and then in deploy, you can publish it here, this checkbox.
Yeah, so basically it's upload the code to IPFS because I was worried once happened to me, like to do that, and I was scared because the code, it shouldn't be verified at that moment. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I guess that the two parts here is that to use that, you need to like right now, if I do it, I don't have a node set up, so is it gonna work? Oh, maybe yeah, you've not set up you need to have a node set up. And so since I don't have an Infura node set up or whatever, it's not publishing it.
Okay. This happened like 2 years ago, and I know it was a bit different, so I don't really remember. But
Yeah. So basically, don't click that if you don't want it published.
yeah, great. Thank you.
I also have a question, but a bit deviating from the theme. Or actually, so the desktop app, I didn't check it out yet. So is it a native app or is it a progressive embedded app, a PWA?
I mean, it's a Electron app.
Okay.
So it should be native.
Compiled natively, or I'm not sure how that functions, but so
I
it's
believe
probably a common platform and it compiles natively, but not necessarily that would be this wouldn't be a problem. But some of the concerns that I have when working with Remix previously was privacy, and in general, how private or how safe can I? Well, of course, maybe the code. Okay, the code is probably open source, right? The
Yeah.
Remix. So, but still, because I'm writing the code in the browser, it kind of gives me a feeling that it's not private. So probably, maybe this would be a concern that some people might have, that working with a desktop IDE, you are more kind of safe from people from Remix, for example, seeing the code or whatever I'm doing in the IDE.
Yeah, I mean, certainly because it's all private. The in Remix itself, like there are analytics that you opt into if you want. And if you do opt into them, there's nothing, we don't save anything that makes anything personally identifiable. So we're not saving anybody's code. And since there are no accounts in Remix, like even on the web, it's not like we have access to what the code is. In the analytics tool, we see like that there's so many deployments to a certain chain, but there's not like we don't know what the contracts are. And but anyway, the desktop is local and private. The Solidity compilation is in the browser, so it's local to the browser. The Viper compiler now is sending it remotely. But you can set it up so that it's local. And that was a concern about the Sindri for running your zero knowledge proofs remotely. there's a security concern there. So, and that's why we wanted to get those working on the desktop version.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Other questions?
And I got questions for the group as well, too.
Bob? Yeah, go ahead.
Like, was what I showed about like using the right click surprising in the file explorer or in the editor? Like, is it safe to assume that people know when to right click?
I can answer it. So I haven't used it. It wasn't surprising because it's something that would be normal default to do. But again, since Remix is run in a browser usually, you usually don't right click. So I personally was not right clicking. I was just clicking the file and going and finding the button that I want to, of the action that I want to apply to that selection. So
Okay. And I guess the other question was that as we moved the templates from to the main panel now, are they harder? Like, is it harder for people to find the template explorer?
I haven't used it at all, by the way.
Oh.
That's something new to me.
Yeah, that the like when you want to, so maybe like templates for this group are irrelevant too. Is another point because you're like as more advanced users, maybe you don't need a template to start with.
Well, not necessarily. I even when so I'm not sure how long the templates have been in there probably since a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Even when I was starting, I've never used them. So I would usually go and just find whatever template for whatever simple smart contract that I need to write or yeah. So I wasn't aware. No.
And the other question is just about AI in your coding. Like I mean, we're trying to make the AI tools more useful, obviously, but also like um, useful and not annoying. And is it like have you all tried them, or is it like to understand the paradigms that I explained, like code completion or code explanation? Does that help organize them in how you think you might use them?
I think it's useful. I mean, I usually use Copilot or something else. Yeah.
And have you tried Cursor?
Yes, I tried it. I actually use it as well. Yeah.
Which are your favorite AI tools generally?
Probably Cursor and GPT, but Cursor has what does it have? Claude and GPT, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly use. I don't know. I discovered it like 2 months ago, and I'm using it heavily now. Yeah.
And we now have the Chinese version of DeepSeek that I saw that it has like better benchmarks on coding than other models.
Hmm. Have to check.
One thing I wanted to say. Usually when I use Remix, I use it. Yeah, I import my source code inside the browser. So usually I import a folder with everything inside the browser, and I use it as well for deployments and maybe for linking some existing contracts and testing it that way. What I found annoying, I don't know if it's still in use. Uh, you modify something on the browser and it modifies your local code, and for some reason I'm not aware of that, and sometimes I'm modifying things in Remix, and I don't want my local things to get modified, and it just happens, and I lose my old stuff, you know.
You mean
So
on Drive that it modifies the
it modifies the local. So I have my folder on the computer, and I imported it to browser to Remix, and I modify the code in Remix, and it also modifies the code inside the browser, inside my local folder.
that means you connect with the Remix D, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So you could also import, yeah, if you use RemixD, it's sharing that folder. So if any change in Remix is going to change anything in that folder. But you could if you want to separate it and just use Remix in the browser, you should be able to upload a folder to the browser. And so then it will here. Should be
Yeah, but sometimes it happens when I modify the remix. It happens that okay, the changes got modified on my local setup, but when I modify them on my local setup and I'm still connected to remix, it doesn't modify the remix version.
Yeah, this is annoying.
So they say it's one in one
It's
direction.
one direction, yeah. From remix to local setup, the code is modified, but from the local setup to remix is not. Sometimes.
So Remix does
okay,
not
this sounds like it's a
all
bug.
the changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an old bug that
that's
I
an old one, I
experienced
think.
for
Yeah.
years.
So things that you change locally,
Yeah, doesn't apply to the remix code. Yeah.
you don't see them in the IDE.
And
Yeah.
is this recent or has it been a while?
It's been a while. I
At least
also
3 years.
Years or 4, yeah, something.
Okay, so it may have been fixed.
maybe I know that it now says from the local setup to remix that you can replace with the new content. Basically, if it identifies new code in your local editor,
So
the
then
remix now says replace with new content.
then it works as it should. Then.
Yeah.
Never mind. So it was fixed.
But yes, if you run the command remix d-v, then you can get the version number to make sure you're up to date. Also, I assume just in terms of running libraries and Remix that everyone knows like Remix checks if anything's in npm and you do an import, Remix will go to unpackage to get the npm package. So that means like all the libraries are, the Open Zeppelin libraries are easily imported.
Yes.
And also, if you use the Open Zeppelin wizard, there's an open and remix button, so you can kind of customize Open Zeppelin contract there and then open it in remix.
Oh, may I ask another question?
Please.
So I think I'm not sure, but it's another bug at the. If it's possible, like to share screen to show you, or I can share it for.
Yeah,
just
you can share it if you want to.
Okay, I will share. Just a second. Share screen. So I don't know if it's just on me, but here, if you want to connect, like I had to teach multiple Solidity developers. So if you try to connect local, this is how it looks. So you have to know that the connect button is here to access it.
Oh, yes. Oh, I see.
see?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
actually,
here, nobody knows, but I teach some people that you can find it like this way. So it's not just on me, but I don't know.
yeah, you know what happened? They moved it, and it kept confusing me, but it's also in the hamburger menu.
Where?
The three dashes next to workspace.
menu
Okay.
that is not
Oh,
used.
okay. I had no idea this is a button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, yeah, that's okay. And then when you go back to the hamburger menu
Okay.
and then connect to local file system.
Okay. So this is another, maybe, I don't know if it's the issue, but no one knew that this is a button because they
Yeah.
thought this is just
Is
a
that
logo for this.
is that when you say no one, is that most people, do you think?
I
'Cause
mean, I work
it's
with
a really
4
important menu.
5
So
people
yeah, okay.
plus me.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. And also that other one of the localhost. I think that localhost should be just there anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Since it's becoming an IDE that's so are there hotkeys? I don't even know that. Like for example, with desktop IDs, I like using hotkeys, and I don't usually use mouse clicking at all.
Well, to like compile, it's Control S.
Whatever, yeah, whatever. So
If you go
from
to Remix here, I'll share the screen for a sec.
again, probably it is something that's easy to find out, but if Remix is becoming an IDE that's going to be with so many features and also on desktop and so on, and it seems to take so becoming like serious. Not that it's not already serious, but probably an IDE that is going to be used for production also a lot. Then using hotkeys or shortcuts, I'll call it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We
Or
hide the shortcuts.
yeah.
When you close all the tabs in Remix,
Okay.
there's a list here.
Yeah, okay.
Um, and I guess like the another question is like we have a lot of tooltips everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there are too many, or do you think are they helpful?
I think they're helpful, yeah.
So some of them have like well actually like if we select one here, the tooltip should say like it should show the shortcut. So the shortcuts are around, but to see the list of shortcuts and if we ever add any, when you close all the tabs, there's the list here. And here's another kind of interesting thing is if you in all the plugins, there's this little top area. If you dial that down, and then you can get right to the documentation.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely worth watching the recording again. So for anyone working with it. One more question from me, Rob. So debugging on contracts that are on chain. So you said there is a Tenderly plugin. So what now? Probably if it's just if it's integrating Tenderly. So the problem that we saw with Tenderly is so in development you usually don't verify contracts, right? You want to deploy something, you don't want to verify it so that other people would see the source code, or that it would be obvious that whatever. Yeah. So maybe you want to connect with the Remix with the source code inside Remix without the contract being verified.
Yeah,
and
this works with Tenderly.
and do debug in the yes, but on
We
verified
don't.
contracts.
No.
No?
We do that on Liquify, but I don't know if it's not only for the paid version or stuff like that. But we use that for 6 months with Tenderly without validating the code on chain.
So that's a Tenderly debugger?
Yes.
I mean, you should be able to, like if you have the source code in Remix, you can use a Remix debugger. If it's a verified contract, you don't even need the source code.
I'm referring mostly to the situation where you have some whatever transaction exception or failure on chain, So you have a failed transaction, and you want to debug that transaction. So of the deployed contract, not locally in the Remix VM.
Yeah, you can inside the debugger, if you go there, let's try and
Maybe it's a feature that I was not aware of.
If you go to the debugger, and then you put the hash of the transaction, then and it's verified, then Remix will get it.
Okay, and this is integrating with
in the debugger.
Okay. So, but it has to be verified. Okay.
Yeah. If you have the source code, if it's like your contract,
Mhm.
I think it should still work, but
Yeah, well, no
I'm
problem.
gonna find out.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
I usually use Remix when when I want to do something like this and I don't have the source code, but I'm somehow find the signature of the function that I'm calling. I create a fake contract with that function signature and try that, and it works.
Yeah.
Also, it just needs the okay. Basically the ABI.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So you use the ABI to like interact with the on-chain contract that is not validated or local one. I'm asking because it's not clear for me if it's possible to see how for what error revert without having code on chain, like validated code on chain. So you have just the local version, you compile it, and then you can use that for the on-chain hash. So
Yeah, you can do that.
because it's basically the same code, but on-chain is not validated.
You should be able to do that. I do that a lot. I
Okay.
did that a lot on Remix, and yeah.
No.
Also on Tenderly, you have to, if you don't have the code verified, you have to input an ABI or something. You can't just put the address of an unverified contract and it won't work. You have to put an ABI or something.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some new tools that might get integrated that kind of inches towards not needing the signatures. But there's limits to what it could ever do. But I don't know. I can share that with your group, but as soon as those get a little bit more developed.
Okay, sure. I guess they look for similar signatures into the blockchain and check verified contracts with similar signatures and try to mimic those.
I forget what it was. It was a contributor. She had this idea, and it was like we knew there was limits, but we kind of said, go for it and we'll see what we get. So we met her at DevCon and she seemed to be progressing a little bit, but I think it's the kind of thing that will be interesting for very specific use cases.
Yeah, agreed.
And for everyone else, kind of irrelevant.
And if I can give more feedback about, so I work a lot with structures and arrays, and it's like almost impossible from Remix to interact with functions that have tuples. Like it's really hard to, if you have complicated structures and stuff like that, it's really hard to create a tuple as a parameter for the function.
Isn't it just you put it in an array? There, where's the
Yeah, but
document?
for example, at the project I work, I have two structures that have 15 parameters, so it's really hard to uh, see the array. Like, would be nice somehow to destructure it or stuff like that if it's possible.
Oh, so in a way, like wait a minute.
Making it like a tree or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow to just introduce like normal parameters, and when you interact with that, it combine them in a tuple and send it or stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow, that's a nice idea. Okay.
And also
But can I
for
want to
bytes.
if you could write a issue or feature request in the repo,
Yeah,
that would
sure.
be really interesting.
If it's possible to share with me.
Yeah. Yeah, here oops. I mean, it should just be this. I guess I'll just stick it in the Zoom call. Um, and if you can make an issue and tag me, and I'll shepherd that through, and
Okay, sounds good.
that'd be really helpful.
Okay, I will do it probably today or tomorrow. So
Great, maybe we can get that in the next few releases, because
yeah, would be nice for me. Thanks.
yeah, I mean, it
Rob.
kind of fits with Remix's mission of making things more comprehensible, or anyway.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that you like the feedback.
So Rob, hi. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation earlier. It's been quite awesome. Speaking from somebody who's not that familiar with Remix, but I see that there's a discussion that has been started here with feedback and everything. So I think that's super good. And just on that, I wanted to ask a question, maybe on behalf of most of developers, right, who want to get in touch with you guys from Remix. Is there a quick like feedback loop for developers, like something that they can use to get in touch with Remix team?
I mean,
For
there's the
issues?
Discord channel.
Discord channel. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you
And
mind pasting this one? I'm
yeah.
sure we're gonna find it, but I think it's useful.
Here, I just get the
Mhm.
oops.
And
No,
also, I
I
mean,
got the note from the guy that was doing the AI that he wants to show up, but then he didn't. I didn't get him the URL in time. Okay, so
we can organize a follow-up session. Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're willing, obviously.
Yeah.
Pressure you into anything. But I think we started a really interesting discussion here, and I think there's value a lot for the developer community, and also maybe, as far as I can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe for you guys as well, in terms of receiving feedback. You were asking earlier about the user experience, so to speak, right? So finding the templates and so on. And maybe this would be useful for building and improving continuously on what you're doing right now. So
Yeah, in fact, I'm organizing a bunch of user tests and interviews. So if anyone wants to be part of those, here we can start. Also, I can start a Telegram group or with your group. Maybe
sure.
that's even more direct. But like, And we should do both, like the Discord and the Telegram group.
I super agree. I feel free to pop into ours. I'm gonna drop you either here or Alex will get in touch on, like all the details. But I think there's a very interesting thing here. Like we'd really want to bridge this gap because it feels like there's value in talking directly to the developers. So yeah, absolutely feel free to pop in the Telegram
Okay.
chat for us, and any details, like even link to the Discord group, any like polls or whatever you want to add to make your life easier in terms of receiving feedback. Eventually, like maybe even organizing sessions. We have the think tank sessions as well. Maybe this will be also a format that you would enjoy. But yeah, let's keep in touch on this and figure out how we can, make it easier for everybody to get in touch and work towards improving everything, right? Because in the end,
Yeah,
that's
sounds
it.
really good.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. And yeah, and in the Telegram group, I'll also like put the links to the crowd in the translation platform if you're all interested.
Yes, please do. Everything you have.
Okay.
More information, the better. I mean,
Okay.
it's always good to have everything, like in one place. And in
Yeah.
a way, like people, I'm sure they're gonna just go ahead and ask questions and start discussions because that's the main point of the sessions that we're doing. To if we can, like if we can unlift the veil and start having people coming in and asking questions, giving feedback and so forth, 'cause that's the value for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Good. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you as well. I see there's more questions if you're up for it. Negro wants to ask one.
Yeah, a few
Go
more.
ahead.
I've got 5 more minutes, then I should go. But
Cool.
Go fast, Negro. I have one too.
Okay, I'll be fast. So I was wondering, I had to make some code implementing a EIP 712, like a signature. I had to implement a signature into a contract, and I was wondering if is there any way to sign some messages via directly from Remix. Like I connect my MetaMask and I use, I don't know, a button. I put a message and I just sign the message in there.
But if you're in deploy and run, I mean, let me know if I'm.
Yeah, probably he missed it. You showed it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I? I'm
You
sharing
can show it
now.
again, probably. Yeah. George, I think you missed it, but yeah, Rob showed it in the beginning.
Here, just to so it's over here, and it's something you can easily miss. It's where did I put it? Wait a minute. Oh, it's up here. Yeah. Inside of like there's the in deploy and run, there's the environment, then there's the account, and then there's this little one to sign, and then you can sign.
Yeah, I missed this. Okay, thanks. It's okay. Okay, I'll figure it out. That's what I wanted to see.
It
Thank
should
you.
be pretty straightforward from there.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. So I okay. It works. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So just so I've worked for a project that had a huge smart contract, and it's close to 24 kilobytes. And each time I'm trying to put it in Remix, basically it broke the Remix each time. But at this point, we are not public with the smart contract, and I can like show you the situation. But like in 2 weeks, we will be public, and then maybe we can look over this to see why it fails. Like in Foundry, it works. I can deploy it. We use it on testnet and so on. But every time I'm trying to use it on Remix, like it breaks the browser entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know exactly what the maximum size is, but there are, it's a kind of inherent limit of working in the browser, but Remix Desktop will get around that.
Okay.
So you try there. Also, if it crashes there, I would be really curious to know.
Okay. So
And also, we're looking for feedback about Remix Desktop as well. So
okay. Okay. I will try it definitely.
and also, yeah, like I guess kind of announcing what the largest size of something that works in the browser would be good for our documentation.
Okay. Sounds good.
What else about that? Yeah, I mean, like the nature of Remix, there's a kind of inherent limits because it's in the browser about how it's used. Like it's not exactly, as strong a tool as Foundry, or it's not.
Yeah, I just like don't know why, but expect it to be possible to maybe compile it only because probably the limit is the same. But now I understand what are you saying about like the limitation of the browser or stuff like that. So I will try it on desktop, no problem, and then I will inform you.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, I guess I should probably go, but thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. Thank you as well, Rob, again. And yeah, let's keep in touch. Please pop over to our Telegram chat as well. Let's kick off conversations, as we said, on feedback eventually. And I don't know if you guys feel like and are open to it. Let's see about follow-up sessions as well. I think there's a lot of value for the developers in the community. So yeah, let's stay in touch. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much, and thank you so
Bye.
much, everyone, for joining.
Yes, everyone. So we'll have the recording again for this session. We definitely need to take a look because there was lots of info. So I personally will take a look at the recording.
Oh, by the way, I'll put the link to the presentation here too.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Just put it. Do I? Where am I going to put it? Oh,
You can paste it in the chat. We'll pick it up from there.
just a second. Hold on. Doesn't wanna.
You can pass it on Telegram to me.
I'll paste it in the Telegram one. Something's funny with my machine. I guess it's time to get a new machine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Rob.
Guys, thank you.
Bye.
Talk later.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.